What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Washington State Air Raid Playbook in College Football 25. This is the Ben Arbuckle offense. He is now the new offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. He is Brent Venables' last chance of surviving there. Hopefully he can make it work. I've never watched Washington State play the last few years. I'm not really sure what he ran, but I've studied this playbook and I kind of have an idea of what he is into. And I'm here to tell you, this is a really cool scheme, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So we're going to go over the formations and concepts and play types and personnel, and hopefully by the end of the video you have a good idea of what this playbook is all about. So again, this is an air raid playbook, but it's got some other things built in, and we're going to start off with the formations. And as you can tell, there's only shotgun. We got your goal line, your Hail Mary, and again, it's just all shotgun. So we're going to start and begin here, and let's just start off with gun wing. You got 9 plays. This is a 12 personnel set. Now, just notice number 24 and 87. Those are your 2 tight ends. 24 is your number 1 tight end. But when you go to the next formation, it switches the tight ends. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that before. I don't know if it's just this formation that does that, but your number 1 tight end is on the outside as like an H-back of some sort. And that it's not a sub package. I got the basic one in there. So who knows what the deal is, but I just kind of noticed that. But that's another 12 personnel formation. Then you get into doubles. This is our first 11 personnel set. You got 21 plays there. It's a 2x2 look. Then we get into doubles flex. Then normal Y off week. And then we have these 3 that are just 2x2 looks. So if you like 2x2 11 personnel looks, you got 3 of them. You got 21, 18, and 18. That's a lot of plays there. Then we get into our trips 11 personnel looks. We got Y off trips nasty. Then we got Y off trips, Y off trio weak. And then we get into what I think is the real fun part of the rest of this playbook is how he uses formations to really stress the defense. Starting off trips tight end, you got everybody and their brother on one side. Then you get into trio. Then you get into trio unbalanced. So if you like trips from 11 personnel, this is a great playbook to use. You got 3 of them here that, again, defenses do not like going up against stuff like that. And then we get into trips by over. We got another one on top of that. And then we get into our first true spread set. When I think spread, I think everybody is away from the offensive line. And we got a bunch of these. Starting off double stack. Then we get into spread. Then we get into normal flex snug. Now, this is still 11 personnel. Your tight ends are still out there, but your tight end is not in this one. This is a 10 personnel, but it goes back to 11 personnel here. But this is an oddball formation. I haven't seen this one in too many other playbooks, but it's a true spread look at least. Then we get into bunch open offset. Your tight end is still out there. Then we get into trips. This is another 10 personnel set with those 4 wide receivers. Then we got trips halfback week, the same thing. Then we get into empty bunch open. So this is an 11 personnel look. You got your tight end and halfback out there. Then we get into empty base. That's another 11 personnel. And then last but not least, we got empty quads. This is a 0-1 formation technically, but just kind of notice, well, and then we got bunch quads open, another empty set, only 6 plays there. But here's what I just really want to point out is when you start with this formation, let me get to it. Here we go. So double stack. So count these. These are true spread looks. Again, everybody's away from the offensive line. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You got 10 spread looks. That is probably the most I've seen in a playbook that is not veer and shoot. If you're not a veer and shoot fan, but you really want to spread out a defense, this is the playbook for you. It just got so much good stuff in there. Okay, so I just wanted to point out some of those formation tendencies. Let's go in here. What I normally like to do is try to find like pre-snap motion series. These are good drive starters and things of that nature. So let's start off with wing. Do we have any in here? We do not. Wing slot offset. Here's our first one. This is our H-back or number 2 tight end. But technically, remember, this is the formation where your number 1 tight end is technically the H-back. So he is the one that is going in motion for some of these. Halfback zone split. You got play action off of that, and you got a counter built on top of that. I'm going to go against something random here. Let's just do something like that. Let me back out. There we go. All right, so let's go here. I'm running just basic play action. Looks like they're going with a cover 2. Just your pre-snap motion with that 24. Again, he's your number 1 tight end. Taking its sweet time. Then you go over here. Look at that throw. Nice. Really good looking play there. But again, you got a nice little series right there with your tight end motioning around and kind of like a return motion in a sense. Let's go back to it. we got right here. So we got more on top of that. So you got your counter, then we got your jet sweep. This is your slot receiver. Technically, he's your number 2 guy. You got a jet sweep, you got the play action, you got a fake off of it. And again, just nice little series of things right there, if that is your thing. You got doubles. Do we have any in here? I think we got some Z. We got a jet touch pass from the slot receiver there. Let's go to double flex. I think we got some Z motion. There it is. So we got mesh spot, flanker drive, and Z spot. So this is very air raid-ish. Definitely mesh. Drive is just your dig and drag underneath it. And Z spot is technically like Y corner in the air raid world, but it's more old school West Coast. So you got some there as well. Let's keep on going. Normal Y off week. Do we have any here? And I'll go ahead and tell you there's not a ton of motion in this playbook, but you got a little bit. So Y off trips. Here we go. Here is more tight end motion. You got a zone split, play action off that, and you got a wide lead read option. On top of that, what about Y off trio week? Do we have anything here? We do not. What about trips tight end? Normally these hardcore trips formations will not have a ton of motion. As you can see, this one doesn't either. Trio unbalanced. I love this type of play or formation. It's just really nice to just really stress the defense. It's easy to read defenses with plays like this. You got to swing, just very basic stuff in there. But trips Y over. This is another one, just kind of the same thing. Double stacked. Do we got any motion here? We do not. Spread. We do not. So if you're a heavy motion guy, you probably don't want to use this playbook. As you can tell, there's not a ton of motion in here, but it's got a little bit. We got trips. We don't have any here. This is another thing. Your spread looks normally don't have a ton of motion either. It's usually those 11 and 12 personnel where they get really excited about the motion. But empty base, we got a jet sweep here. Do we got anything else? We do not. Yes, we do. So here are the fake screen birds. We got a halfback screen on top of that. And we got a sluggo built on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just call this basic halfback screen. We'll go up against like a random nickel. Very simple stuff here. You got a backside slant if you want to hit that against man, but I will probably, let's see. We'll go over here. Just nobody picked up that dude, but either way, it happens. But either way, just cool stuff. If you like a little motion out of your empty sets, you got a little bit of that there. What about empty quads? Do we have any here? And what about quads open? We do not. So again, there's not a ton of motion, but if you don't need it, then you're good with it. All right, so that is all the formations. Again, really cool. I just love how he structures the formations. Stressing the defense with some of these 11 personnel trip sets and unbalanced looks, and then you get into a ton of the spread looks. And speaking of it, let's go back to this normal flex snug. Again, this is like an oddball formation. I don't think a ton of playbooks have this, but you see what it is. It doesn't have anything too crazy, but it's got a fake screen cross. I think that's pretty nasty. You got an RPO with a GT screen. That's a pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and call that one. Let's go ahead. We'll go up against a nickel. So you can just kind of look at your reads. We got 3 guys defending, or 2 on the one end. You got 2 on the other side. I think we got the numbers up the middle. I'm going to go ahead and just run this ball. Can we get a block or 2? Nope, nobody picked up that defensive tackle. We could try this one more time. Let's see. We got the numbers up the middle. I'm going to go ahead and run this thing. Can we cut up? Yeah, not a bad little play. Either way, if you have less numbers on the outside, you can hit one of those screens for a decent gain as well. So again, I love the formations. I love the structure of the playbook. Let's talk about personnel. We've already hinted at some of this. Starting off, your 11 personnel look, you got plenty of that in here, as with most spread and air raid playbooks. 23 personnel, that's just your goal line. 12, you got a little bit. You got a wing, and you got wing slot offset, just those 2. And then you got 32 is your QB kneel, your 21 is your clock management. Then you got 10 personnel. I like to have a little bit of variety. If I'm going to run a spread offense, I need to have at least a little bit of 10 personnel. I don't need 100% of 11 like the Georgia playbook. I need at least a little bit of 10, and you got plenty of it in here. You got spread 21 plays there, 18 of trips, and 21 of trips halfback week. So a ton of 10 personnel look and plays to fool around with. And we got that 0-1 formation, the empty quads. You got 6 plays there. So a nice variety for a spread / air raid playbook. All right, let's talk about concepts. So always look at the play counts. It kind of gives you an idea of what they really like to do in here. You got a nice split of run and option. 51 and roughly 54 there. You got some quicks, of course. You got mediums and deep pass. A lot of mediums and especially deep. That's a pretty good high number. And not a lot of play action, but we'll look at that a little bit later. Let's start off with the runs. Starting off, Power, you got 9 power. So if you like a little pulling action, you could use some of that here. And if you got power, you're going to have some counter built in. There is your counter. You got 6 plays there. You got 2 ISOs. You got 13 draws. That's a lot of draws, even for other spread playbooks I've looked at. I'm going to go ahead and just call something random here. I love draw. I think it's just super quick. You just got to get decent blocking with it. See, that's a good little play right there. Very quick. If you're going to do any drop back passing whatsoever, which I know you will if you're going to use this playbook, sprinkle in some draw. They just complement each other so well. You got 17 inside zone. That's a good high number. That's usually your most common run concept in the game. Outside zone, you got 3 of those, and you got a sweep, and that's out of your goal line. Let's look at some option. So we got a little bit of everything here. We got 5 load options. This is also your speed options. I love speed option. There are 5 of them. I think that's a good high number for this playbook. You got 1 inverted veer. You got 11 read options, your classic reads. Then you got 2 triples. These are your slot option varieties. I'm not very good at these, so I'm not going to attempt to try to run one of them. But you got RPO. So the bulk of this is going to be your RPO. So you got RPO reads. You got a little bit of everything. You got slants. You got bubbles and screens and a lot of the GT screens, I think, is just pretty cool. A flanker screen. If you like the flanker screen, I think you'll really like this playbook. There's plenty of it in here, but you got basic bubbles as well. You go to RPO peak. We got a wide pop. We got some slants. We got an RPO stick, which I think is a really cool concept. Then you go to RPO alerts. You got more flanker screens. We got some shock if you like the LSU slot fade type stuff. That is in here as well. But look at these. More wide receiver flanker screens. I really like those. They're just very simple in terms of kind of what they're trying to do. So you got a nice little variety of RPOs. Let's go to quick pass. You have 6 Ohios. That's a really high number compared to most playbooks. If you like the basic go out concept, you can definitely use some of that in here. So what we got over here, we got a go out on the left side. So that is, again, your Ohio. We'll just go right here, just pick up easy yardage there. Of course, he dropped it, but that's a good play by the defender too. But you got to go on the top of that. Then you usually have like a backside concept on the other. It just kind of depends on where you're going with. So you see over here on the right, slot outs, that's a mirrored concept. Ohio spacing, that is Ohio on one side, spacing on the other. You kind of get the idea, but you got plenty of it. You got 2 Omahas. You got 12 slants, and you think you're going to have that many slants, you should have that many stick, but if you go to stick, you got only 6 sticks. So this is an air raid offense. There's enough stick here, but I'm here to tell you there's a lot more slant, and it's true slants. You got double slants and basic slants, double slants. Then you're going to have the combination of slant and stick, like drag and stick, and just basic stick like you see on the right. So you'll go back and forth between these and stick. Spacing, we got 2 of those, and we already saw those a little bit earlier. Let's look at medium pass. We got a bunch of stuff in here. We got 3 drives. Again, that is your dig and drag underneath going in the same direction. You got 6 shallow cross. Now we're starting to get a little air raid-ish. We got wide shallow cross. We got a shark halfback wheel. Again, a little run and shoot with a switch concept with a shallow cross in the middle. I love that combination. Of this shark halfback wheel, I think that's just a nasty combination of routes. I'm going to go ahead and call something random here. Let's see, they are going, yeah, that's going to get picked off. I did not read that one well at all. But anyway, I love the look of this. So you got a backside comeback, good against man. You got your shallow cross in the middle, and you got your switch on the other side. We'll just go to this drag, pick up some good yardage here. Not bad. Again, I think it's just sexy just seeing those 5 routes work together so well. So you got plenty of that. You go over to choice. You got 6 of these, so pretty much any play that's got an option route, they're going to dump it here. You got 15 curls, so think curls, hitches, and just more curls, just different varieties of that, but 15 is a high number. You got 7 double moves, so pretty much any play that's got a route that does a little double move, as you see, like halfback angle, we got several of them in that one. Then you go over to levels. You got 1 of those. You got 6 mesh. That should be enough to run classic mesh with air raid. You got 5 Salems. You got 1 shake. Slot cross. This is technically Y cross. You got 4 of those. You got 20 smash. So think of your classic smash from, let me go and find, like, so you get corner strike in the middle. That is your corner with the flat. Or if you like the classic look with the hitch and the flag, you got plenty of that in there as well. Again, just a combination of how you want to run high lows to the sidelines. Then you got 7 spot. So spot is, again, it's West Coast, but it's more wide corner than anything else. So when you're thinking air raid, think that Y corner, like X spot, the middle play right there with that middle receiver running the flag route with a spot underneath it. Again, that's basic Y cross in the air raid world. 4 Texas, and that is actually a crazy high number for the Texas route. The Texas route is that angle route by the halfback. You got 4 of them in here. Most playbooks barely have 1. So I think that's pretty cool that they got that in there. And that's a pretty good little route to use, especially like, again, zone and such. Let's look at deep pass. We got more deep passes than medium passes. We got 15 comebacks. So remember that high number of curls we looked at earlier in the medium pass section? Well, you got 15 comebacks. So curls, comebacks, hitches. It actually got a bit of a veer and shoot vibe when you look at some of the stuff like that. But anyway, plenty of comebacks. I love the comeback route. You got 11 floods, different variety here. Flood, halfback swing is just classic. That's probably my favorite combination of flood. Really good stuff there. We got 25 verticals. I mean, that's a lot of verticals. I mean, that's a lot. It's verticals is usually your higher end, more popular vertical concept or deep pass concept in this game, but this one has so much of it. I mean, an absolute ton. Look at this. We got some option stuff with this all going to empty quads. I'm gonna go ahead and call that nasty stuff right here. Let's see. Oh, can I get him? Oh, that's going to get picked off. I threw that way too late, but really cool stuff. I like it. If you need to go deep, you got plenty of it in here, as you can tell. Let's go over and look at divide. You got 4 of those. You got 9 switches. So you got a little run and shoot kind of built in. So Washington State have been running some run and shoot the last several years. Well, this is like Ben Arbuckle's ode to the run and shoot. You got just enough of the switch combo if you need it. You got 7 daggers. If you like the slot go with a dig underneath it, you got 7 of those. You got 2 double digs, a couple double posts, 4 meals, you got 4 Portlands, you got 11 shot plays. You can kind of combine these with those verticals we looked at earlier. As you see there, PE verticals, that's kind of the same thing. Then you got 1 wide cross, but that's slot cross on the medium pass section that we looked at earlier. Play action, it says we only have 3, but we know better. There's going to be more than play action in here. Let's go to screens. This is a very screen-heavy playbook as well. You got 9 bubbles, but this is a lot of the RPOs we looked at earlier. We got 11 flanker screens. We looked at some of these earlier as well. A ton of flanker screens. And you got a wide receiver mid-screen. But if you go over to play type, and you go to pass, and you go to screen pass, we got 25 screens, and that does not include RPOs. So we had all those 20 plus RPOs we looked at earlier. Throw in all of these screens, and I'm here to tell you, you're going to run a lot of screens in this offense. It's air raid as you would expect it, but this has a really high number, and I love it. Play action. We technically have 31 play action plays in this playbook. A nice variety, just kind of depends on what you're into in terms of like your route combinations and such. Throw this in with those RPOs. Again, RPOs, play action, screens, it all kind of blends in together. Let's look at some runs. We've already looked at this in different ways, but we got 30 inside handoffs, 4 outsides, a pitch, your counters, you got a bunch of draws again, fullback run, and you got 4 QB runs. That's actually kind of a high number. QB blast across the board with a QB sneak, a goal line normal. So again, the bulk of your run game is going to be inside handoff with plenty of draw. And if you want to sprinkle in some power and counter, you can definitely do that. Option. This isn't very option heavy. This is not why you pick this playbook, but it's got enough in here. I mean, close to 20 plays, basic read options, and you got enough speed options as well with a little bit of triple built in, just a little bit. You got your RPOs. You're going to spend a lot of your time in here. Again, a lot of these flanker screens. This is probably the most amount of flanker screens I've seen in a playbook as well. Just a ton of them. You got your 8 peaks, and you got those 13 alerts that we looked at earlier. Guess what? More flanker screens. So that is the playbook. I really like it. So if I was ever going to run a dynasty in this game, I don't know if I ever will. I just enjoyed running the playbook side of things. But if I ever was going to run a spread / air raid playbook, I honestly may want to start here. Again, I can't stress enough how much I enjoy the formation organization here. I love how he stresses the defense with these trips and trios from 11 personnel. Then we get into the true spread looks over here, all 10 of these. I love it. I think it's great, and I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.